Om Om Shrim Hrim Klim Glam Ganganapataye Varavarada Sarvajanam Me Vashamanaye Swaha. Om Shrim Hrim Klim Glam Ganganapataye Varavarada Sarvajanam Me Vashamanaye Swaha. Om Shrim Hrim Klim Glam Ganganapataye Varavarada Sarvajanam Me Vashamanaye Swaha. Om Shrim Hrim Klim Glam Ganganapataye Varavarada Sarvajanam Me Vashamanaye Swaha. Okay, so now this one, verse 3. Verse 3 is about seeking protection from Ganesha. So the word ava means to protect. One of meanings of the avatar. Avatar also means that. Avatar means avatarati. Avatarati means to come down. Tarati is to come down to protect. And somebody comes down to protect us, we call them as an avatar. Right? So, and I said earlier also, the syllable om, one of the root words of the syllable om, the dhatu of om is ava, means the protector. It means, and Ganesha is also known as the pranava. Ganesha, the symbol of Ganesha, many a times you will notice, is represented along with om. And his trunk will be drawn like so we've seen that, right? The thing that's coming out of the om, the u, the symbol will appear like the trunk, and then they'll draw eyes, and then the bottom part of the om will appear like the stomach, and so on and so forth. So this there is this very close connection between Ganesha and om, because Ganesha is the first, as I said, my guru had told, Ganesha is the ideation, the process of ideation, the first occurrence of an idea that occurs within us. Any form of concept or idea or any imagination that occurs within us is the power of Ganesha. So which is the source of everything that happens, all the way from the our thoughts to the actions that it results into, and the karma that we do, and the karma phala that we get out of it. All of that is sourced in an idea. In an idea, and the idea also that I am this individual body, that idea is also Ganesha. I am this supreme spirit, I am Brahman, that idea is also Ganesha. Both are Ganesha. Both are the source of an idea is Ganesha. So the source of everything in the material created world, in the form of tanmatra, in the form of sound, it is represented as Om. Shabda Brahman. Shabda Brahman is Om. And Ganesha is Om. And this correlation between Om and Ganesha is to show that they are both the source of, in a way, they are source of this material manifestation. See how Dakshinamurti Stotram says, Vishwam Darpana Drishyamana Nagari Tulyam Nija Antargatam. From inside of me, this whole universe is coming out. Nija Antargatam. From here, the universe is manifest. So where is the idea of the universe? It's inside me. Where is the idea? See, all of this that we are going through, the process that we are going through, is nothing but an idea or a concept in our head. Correct? I am this. So all the definitions that we have, I am this, I am not this, it's all an idea. You get a knock on your head, you become unconscious, all these ideas are gone. Correct? The ideas fly away. So the ideas are created within us. Whole concept of who I am, concept of who my wife is, my child is. In fact, a lot of people have also seen try to live in a world of definitions. Like, for example, as a wife, I should do this, this, this. As a wife, you should do this, this, this. As a child, as my son, you should do this, this, this. As my daughter, you should do this. So we create a lot of these definitions. Relationship na idilana ipdi irukkanum. This is how it should be. This is how it should be. All of these are ideas, no? At the end of the day, they're just ideas. Somebody told, somebody wrote, somebody said, somebody whatever. But in our head, it's just an idea. In our head, and we live in these ideas. And so the source of these ideas are Ganesha. He is the power of these ideas that develop within us. This whole process of ideation. There is an author called Arthur Schopenhauer, the German philosopher. He wrote a book called The World of Will and Idea. Is a German author, A World of Will and Idea. So which means he says the same concepts. He says that how is this world that's created is out of my own will and my own ideas. Which world? The world that I perceive. The world that I perceive and I live in. The world you live in is different. The world somebody else lives in is different. The world I live in is different. We all live in our own worlds. That is why we all don't perceive the same thing in the same way. So this world of ideas, world of the ability to perceive and project it, that perception, that idea that is generated is Ganesha. And the same way, Omkara is the sound from which the whole universe has been created. Akara, Ukara, Makara. From there, the whole world gets created from there. What it means to say is, from sound came Shabda Sparsha, Rupa Rasagandha. From Shabda came Sparsha, from Shabda came Sparsha, Sparsha came Rupa, Rupa came Rasa, Rasa came Gandha. Shabda Sparsha, Rupa Rasagandha, Tanmatras, these are all manifestation. Where did it start from? From Shabda Brahman, from Shabda, sound. Sound is Om. And the property of Om is to protect. In the way, the property that the Rishi is pointing out of Ganesha is to protect. Protect from what? Protect you from this creation itself. See, like for example, when a child is sending, a mother is sending a child to school. The mother is worried. It has to send the child to school. But the mother is worried that will the child get hurt? Will the child get bothered? Will the child go hungry? All of that, right? So the mother creates all kinds of protection for the child and then sends the child into the world. Correct? It doesn't stop from sending, the mother doesn't stop from sending the child into the world. She will send the child, but with ample protection of her. Because if you're not going to send the child into the world, he will not develop, he will not grow, he will not find his true identity. He will not be able to recognize his true nature. None of that will happen. So she sends him into the world. But she sends him with ample protection. So that you're not hungry. If it's raining, wear the raincoat and go. Wear the right kind of shoes, wear all of that, right? And you also tell, don't fight with anybody, don't do this, don't do that. So all of those don'ts, the mother is saying purely for what reason? For the protection of the child. Right? Most of these mothers tell don't is because they fear that the child will get hurt in some form or the other. In the same way, Omkara and Ganesha, they are the ideas that create this world, which means they allow us to manifest the world. But when they manifest, they also have the power to protect us. And we are invoking that protection power. We are invoking that power of protection and saying that, may you protect me. May you protect me from all, because this world I am creating this world, O Ganesha, but I don't know what I am creating. Correct? Half the time we don't know what we end up creating. In fact, even after we will pray for long to have a child, and then after the child comes out, after several years, when the child keeps bothering us, we'll say, Unna end up why did I create you? Kalpaga? I know, but not in a serious way, but mothers say that, right? So this idea of why does that thought even occur, that why did I put myself into this whole mess, this whole struggle? That's because we don't know. We don't know what we end up creating. We have the power of creation, but the problem is we don't know what to create, what not to create. See, which is why this whole idea of karma is so beautiful, because we end up creating, most of the times, all the sufferings that we go through are our own self-created. Our own self-created sufferings, correct? So it is not that we create suffering, we create something and we don't know what we are creating, and then we end up suffering our own creation. And by creation, I don't mean just the child and all. Anything that you do, take up a job, you take up an activity, you take up a project, you take up a house, you take up whatever you do, right? You decide you want to do this, that, and the other. We create that. We create an environment for ourselves. We create a situation for ourselves. We create a possibility for ourselves. The problem is we don't know what are the repercussions that possibility can have. And then when the suffering of that possibility comes, or the difficulty, inconveniences of the possibility comes out, then we go, yo, why did I choose this? Why did I choose this? Why did I do like this? We go into some kind of regret and remorse. And this keeps going on and on. Now, what is happening there? We don't know how to protect ourselves from what we are creating. It is an immense possibility and a power that we carry. We're able to create our own lives in the way we want. Whether we go and sit in a cave in the Himalayas, it's a life that I have created. If I sit in the Grahastha, it's a life I've created. If I want to get into social work, a life I am creating. If I want to get into the academics, it's a life I am creating. If I want to get into quietly go sit down and do research, my own research, it's a life I am creating. Right? If I want to go join an ashram and sit there and do Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, it's a life I am creating. We have to remember, at all points, we create our situations, environments, and lives that we desire, we want. Right? We use external conditions to justify it. We only use external situations to justify the world that we end up creating. It's because of this, it's because of that, it's because of that. So they create justifications. We create reasons to justify why the environment that I have created is justified. So when we do this, the outcomes of that is also our own making. But the problem is we don't know. We don't know what are all the outcomes that can possibly happen. So then that is where we invoke Ganesha. So beautiful, right? You see, Ganesha is the one who is at the start of ideation. He is the one who generates this idea within us. He is the one who is providing that energy and impetus to create this idea, and he is the one who should now also protect us. So the one who gives us this ability should be the one who should protect us. Right? So this is always important. The one who empowers you is the one who should also give you the antidote. If somebody teaches you Brahmastra, he should also teach you how to withdraw the Brahmastra. We know the story of Ashwatthama in Mahabharata, right? He didn't learn from his father, he didn't learn the way to withdraw Brahmastra. So at the end, towards the end, when he was wanting to kill the whole Pandava clan, he let out the Brahmastra. Then Krishna came and then Arjuna also let out. Then Krishna came and said, you guys are creating a nuclear war. You're going to destroy the whole world. So withdraw. Arjuna heeded the advice and withdrew. But Ashwatthama could not, because he hadn't learnt it from his father. So he was so arrogant that he knew the only way to send it out. He didn't know to withdraw it. And he was unleashing a tremendous catastrophe. And then that is where Krishna curses him. Krishna withdraws the Brahmastra and he curses Ashwatthama. So ability, which is extremely important always, when whoever empowers you should also teach you, or we should learn from them the ability to control the power that comes out of that unleashing. Anything, any vidya that we learn, any knowledge that we gain also, we should always remember this knowledge. We should not end up using it for our own selfish purposes. That is the protection. If knowledge that we have, if I use it for my society, my family, my people, or a larger, for a much larger good than myself, then that's all right. So the protection that you're seeking, even in knowledge, the protection that you're seeking is, may this knowledge not become my tool to aggrandize me, to make myself big, trample over others and make myself big. That's the protection we seek. So what Ganaka Rishi is doing here is he's seeking all kinds of protection from Ganesha. So he goes in to say, O Ganesha, tvaṃ, may you protect me. Protect me from all this that we were talking about. All kinds of protection that we require, because you, Ganesha, are the one who are making me think. You are the one who are there, the source of ideation. You are the one who's giving me these ideas. So I seek your protection. These ideas seem fabulous, wonderful, great. I'm excited. I want to go and execute these ideas. But I want you to also be with me when I execute those ideas. I don't want to incur suffering. And a lot of times, some ideas don't go to fruition. That is also Ganesha's blessing then. We get an idea, we want to do this, I want to do this, we go around, we try to execute it, but it doesn't get executed. That is also his blessing, because he's protecting you. Because maybe the idea was fabulous, but maybe you are not suited for it, the time is not suited, the situation is not suited. You go into it, you will only hurt yourself more than you will gain. So Ganesha will offer that protection. Tvaṃ, you protect me, O Ganapati. Vaktāram, may you protect the one who's speaking. śrotāram, may you protect the one who's listening. So here, speaker and listener. Speaker is one who is offering something. Listener is one who's receiving something. So protect the speaker means protect the one who's sharing, in the form of words, in the form of ideas, in the form of knowledge. Protect the speaker, because so that what he speaks is the right thing. What he speaks is in alignment with dharma. Satyam vachmi, rutam vachmi. May that speaker always speak rutam and satyam. So that, see, this, even Hitler spoke. Hitler spoke, and we know what it created. He spoke, and he also created a whole movement. Huge movement he created. He empowered people in their thinking. If you look at it, Hitler was a great leader because he was able to move so many people. He was able to inspire. He was able to give them a purpose. He was able to provide them with, he enlightened them in a way of the purpose of life and who they are. He gave them an identity. Right? The same thing that happens with jihadis. Their ideas are so fabulous that they'll get Jannat, they will get heaven. Like I was saying the other day about how Zakir Naik makes this comparison. In Bhagavad Gita, there is a verse that goes to say, Krishna says, don't worry, fight. Because if you fight, if you win, you will get glories of this world. If you don't win, you'll get the glories of heaven. Fight and kill. So there are people who are able to brainwash you in a certain way, make you think in a certain way. But how much of that is aligned to Ritam? How much of that is aligned to Ritam and Satyam? That is only for time to tell, right? Because at that time it may appear, so many people in Germany, it appeared like the best thing is this man is, they're willing to give their lives for that kind of a purpose that he established for them. So what Ganaka Rishi is saying, protect the speaker so that when he speaks, when these ideas come, see, a lot of times, see, we cannot tell that we don't get wrong ideas. We can't say that. We get wrong ideas. We get very, very funny ideas also in our heads. But we don't take it forward. The difference between some people who cause disharmony in society versus some of us, it's like saying everybody is a thief until he gets caught. சூப்பர் மார்க்கெட்ல இருந்து வெளில வரச்சே ஒரு பிஸ்கட் டப்பா வெளில காசு கொடுக்காம வந்துட்டா சரி சும்மா எடுத்துட்டு போலான்னு நிறைய பேருக்கு தோணும். Many people think பரவாயில்ல சரி எடுத்தாச்சு போட்டாச்சு போயிடலாம் அப்படி. But then something else goes in our head to say no. I have now recognized I have not paid for this. Let me go back to the counter, pay for it and come. So there is a certain ethics, certain morality that we impose upon ourselves. But the point is, strange ideas occur in our heads also. Right? When there are people who bother us, we want those people to be rid. We want them to be rid of. We want to get rid of them. Right? So in our heads, if somebody is bothering you so much, remember, there'll be times when it'll occur to you, I want to get rid of this guy. Whatever happens to him, I don't care. I want to get rid of this guy. We get thoughts like that, but we don't act upon it. But which means these thoughts that come, not all thoughts translate into speech or action. But there are people who believe in some of these thoughts or some of these ideas so strongly that they translate it into speech, translate it into action. So the Rishi is saying, O Ganesha, Ganapati, our vaktāram, protect the speaker so that he doesn't speak. என்ன சொல்றது, அந்த வாயில வந்ததெல்லாம் பேசக்கூடாதுன்னு சொல்லுவாள்ல. வாயில வந்ததெல்லாம் பேசாத அப்படி. அது மாதிரி மனசுல வந்ததெல்லாம் பேசாத. So speak that which will remain in harmony, in ritam, in satyam, in harmony with people around you. Extremely important. Speech is an extremely important medium of communication. Speech is not the only medium of communication, but it's an extremely important medium of communication, and we have got to be responsible with what we deliver through speech. It is our responsibility. And we're seeking protection from Ganapati. May you protect me so that I may remain responsible in what I speak. I speak the right things. I speak things that are in harmony with my environment, and it is beneficial to others. When we speak something, it ought to be beneficial to others, right? Even if you're angry with the person, or even if you're upset with the person, even if you're not in agreement, in disagreement, there are ways in which this can be delivered in a much more effective way. Extremely important. So kids listening to this, like Shravan and all, very important. From childhood, we should develop this ability to communicate effectively. Effective communication is very important. A lot of times we don't pay attention to it. We should be able to speak the right words so that the message, in fact, I tell a lot of people, they when they get excited, agitated and all, they'll say this thing, this, that, and the other. I'll say, okay, you can tell all that, but is your message getting across? Is what you're trying to say getting across? If what you're trying to say actually is not getting across, then it is a lacking that we carry. Correct? It's a lack that we carry. So we have to build ourselves in a way that I'm able to deliver what I want to deliver in the right way, so that it reaches in the right way. Of course, they misconstrue. That is not a responsibility, but at least to the extent possible, we should ensure that the communication happens from our side as effective as possible. Very important. And one of the reasons in this part of the world we learn a lot of languages is also good, because then you know the right words to use. If you want to mix up languages, you mix up languages and use the right word to communicate the idea. Ava vaktāram. Oh Ganesha, protect the speaker, the one who's trying to communicate this. Ava śrotāram. Protect the listener, so that I may be able to listen to the right things. See, there are so many sounds that are going on around us, correct? So many sounds that keep going on around us. Do we listen to everything? We don't listen to everything, right? We listen to those things that we pay attention to. And we pay attention to those things in which we are interested. Otherwise, sounds keep coming. Waves and waves of sound keeps coming and hitting our ears. Some sounds are sounds of well-being. We feel good. Some sounds are sounds of, it causes anxiety. Imagine somebody in your neighborhood is turning on the television and full day TV series. Imagine the amount of anxiety it will cause you. You've created a nice home. You're probably playing Om chanting somewhere. You're listening to some nice chants, you're wanting to sit in peaceful isolation. But somewhere around there in your neighborhood, in Pakat building, they're running their TV series. What will happen? Sound of ambulance, Sri Vidyaji, correct? Sound of ambulance creates a certain anxiety. So there are sounds that are there out there that can create a lot of anxiety, can cause disharmony within us. So we are seeking Ganesha's blessing so that I may be protected as a listener. Don't protect me from such sounds. Protect me from sounds that disturb my well-being. Because why? My focus is I want to achieve this. त्वमेव प्रत्यक्षं तत्त्वमसि त्वमेव केवलं कर्तासि धर्तासि हर्तासि सर्वं खल्विदं ब्रह्मासि त्वं साक्षादात्मासि नित्यं. I want to realize this. So anything that comes in the way of me realizing the ultimate truth, O Ganesha, protect me from that. Avānūcānamava, protect the giver. So if you notice, this goes in pairs. Vaktāram, śrotāram, dātāram, dhātāram, avānūcānamava, śiṣyam. So the one who's offering, the giver or the speaker and the listener, the giver and the receiver. Here dhātāram means two meanings are there. Dhāta means the one to support, which means the one who receives also. So protect the one who's giving. So may I be able to give. May I be able to give, and give how? Give with the intention of pure giving. No other intention. எதுக்கு கொடுத்தேன்? கொடுக்கணும்னு தோணிதே கொடுத்தேன். அவ்வளவுதான். Finished. Story over. That is how our giving attitude should develop. Should develop the attitude. We should just give just because you feel like giving. That's it. And it's not about the giving is not. It's important to practice giving, because as a child, parents teach the child to practice the art of giving. But the slowly where we need to develop is that the art of giving, or the ability to give, should not and this is the protection also that we should seek. So the protection for the giver is the ability to give should not now start building up an anticipation over time. That is the protection.
அதான் நினைச்சிருந்தேன். இப்போலாம் குழந்தைகள் வந்து ஒரு கிஃப்ட் கொண்டு போய் கொடுக்கணும்னா அதுங்களுக்கு வந்து எக்ஸ்பெக்டேஷன் வந்து ரிட்டர்ன் கிஃப்ட். சம்பிரதாயத்தை பண்ணி வச்சிருக்கோம் நம்ம. ஏன்னா எந்த ஒரு கிஃப்ட் கொடுக்கணும்னா உடனே என்ன ரிட்டர்ன் கிஃப்ட்
ரிட்டர்ன் கிஃப்ட் எனக்கு என்ன கொடுப்பா?
எதை நம்ம கட் பண்ணணும் அதை கிரியேட் பண்ணிட்டு இருக்கோம் நம்ம.
No, very true. It's a sad situation. We should not. On the other side, maybe the parents are trying to tell the child, when somebody gives you, you should give back. But what you're doing is, for the child who is giving in the first place, you're creating an expectation of giving. Navaratri formalities.
Even குழந்தைகளுங்க பெரியவள நவராத்திரிக்கு வந்து யாருன்னா கூப்பிட்டாக்கா வத்தலப்பாக்கு வச்சு அவள் உடனே ரிட்டர்ன் கிஃப்ட் வேற.
I know, correct. Meeraji is saying Navaratri formalities. It is becoming a ritual. The intention is going away. It's becoming a ritual. And these are things we are seeking protection from. When I give, let me just give. And I'm not, it is not something that I'm turning it into and it's okay not to give also. Sometimes I don't feel like giving. It's okay. See, when you get stuck in a ritual, the problem that happens is when you don't do it, birthday party also, Chandra Mama saying, correct, birthday parties. the important thing about giving is to be okay with not giving also. And this is something that we have also to develop. When, see, anything goes one extreme, we should try to withdraw ourselves from the extreme. We shouldn't operate in extremities in that form. Transactionally, I'm saying. The transaction world, we should stay away from extremities. So if giving is so important, I must give now, then you put yourself into a whole struggle, suffering to somehow make the giving possible. No. Alpaca. One of my friends always gives his hand at weddings. So giving is important, but at the same time, we have to know that the giving should come from a place where there is this. As a child, we develop the art of giving, as I said, but as we grow up, we should recognize that giving should come from here. You feel like giving, you give. You don't feel like giving, it's okay. You don't feel like giving is not you're holding back. You're not holding back. It's okay. In that transaction, it doesn't happen. The energy is not there. That's okay. But the idea is to become sensitive to these things. Sometimes you just feel like giving, and sometimes when you give, in fact, one of the three words my guru picked up from Shivananda, his guru: serve, love, give, purify, meditate. These are the 5 words that Shivananda's ashram also it's written. Serve, love, give, purify, meditate. And my guru's picked up important 3 things. He says, you do serve, love, give, the purification and meditation will happen on its own. So he's picked up serve, love, give. So in there's this Annalakshmi that is there, right? Which is set up in a way to just give food, but there's no menu price. There's no price on the menu. So it's like eat as you feel, give as you wish. Right? So there, I've seen people come and have a cup of coffee and give $100, $200. You just feel like giving it. And some people, in some people's presence, you just feel like giving this thing to someone. Suddenly you feel like you don't think about the monetary value, because the experience that is coming from within is far more than the monetary value that you're evaluating. So giving should come from that space. So what we are seeking, Ganesha, is may you protect the giver, which means the one who's giving, may you protect him from all these pitfalls. May he give freely as he feels, when he feels to give, but at the same time understand what giving means. Give and go away, give and go away, move on. And giving, any kind of giving, not just material giving. You're giving knowledge, you're giving understanding, you're giving solace, you're giving your time, you're giving your energy, you're giving your physical energy for somebody to do something. All of this is forms of giving. And then dhātāram, the receiver or the supporter, may you protect him or her. Protect in a way that the recipient, as a recipient, I understand what I am destined to receive. Mother Devi will never keep anything away from you that you deserve. And you will never get anything that you don't deserve. If we have that level of clarity, my God, my Guru, my Ishta will never take away or will never not give anything that I deserve, and what I don't deserve, I will never get. Why? Because that is also protection. You can't give, because a child is crying, you can't go and give a sharp knife to a child, right? You'll never give it. Because you care so much for the child, you will not give it. Just because you care. So in the form of receiving, the recipient has to understand this, that I will receive what I need to receive. This is a phenomenal psychological positive attitude that we can create within ourselves. I will certainly get what I deserve to get, what I need to get, what I'm destined to get. If I am not, I will not get it. When we go with this attitude in the world, anything in the world, whether it's money, wealth, name, position, promotion, acceptability, acknowledgement, whatever, I will get what I am deserved to get, what I deserve to get. Even if I work hard, if I'm not deserving, if it's not right for me, I will not get it. So this, என்னது கல்பகா சொல்லு, நீ அது படியது ஏதோ தலைவரோட ஃபேமஸ் டயலாக் எழுதியிருக்காவோ, படி சொல்லு நீ.
கிடைக்கிறது கிடைக்காம இருக்காது, கிடைக்காதது கிடைக்காது.
திருப்பி ரிப்பீட் பண்ணு.
கிடைக்கிறது கிடைக்காம இருக்காது, கிடைக்காதது கிடைக்காது.
கிடைக்காது.
So what you deserve you will definitely get, and what you don't you will never get.
Correct. So Rajni in his own style says that.
அதான் எல்லாமே see again all comes to karma theory. What I don't get now is my own making, maybe in the past.
Absolutely.
What I am now again அந்த free will அங்க வந்துருது. நான் அடுத்தது எனக்கு வரணும்னா நான் இங்க
இப்போ பண்ணணும். Absolutely. Absolutely. So free will is essentially describing, so that is why I always tell, free will comes between what has happened and what is going to happen. Free will stands there, which is right now in the present. So I protect me as a receiver, protect me as a supporter. May I be able to receive, like for example, the rains. Mother Earth, whatever rains fall from the heavens, from the clouds, whatever comes, she has to take it. There is flood in some place, there is drought in one place. What do? That is what she is destined in that place. Dubai, Mari, UAE, you don't get a drop of water from the sky. She's parched. But you go to places like Assam, there are floods. That's the nature of things. That is how it will be. The problem is, we either associate ourselves with a place like UAE, or we associate ourselves with Assam. If you don't associate with both, we associate with the earth as a whole. We associate ourselves with individual spaces. If we associate ourselves with earth as a whole, she's okay. Somewhere there's flood, somewhere there's drought, somewhere there is famine, somewhere there is this thing. It's okay. Nature of things. So as a supporter, protect me so that I may be able to become this recipient of knowledge, recipient of understanding, recipient of whatever has been given to me. May I receive it with grace. There is a very beautiful term. We'll stop with that. There's a very beautiful term in Sanskritam called ahaituki. Gayatri, I saw your hand, ma. Just give me a moment. I'll finish this and we'll take up this thing. Ahaituki. Ahaituki means without a reason, to be happy without a reason. And if we get to a possibility of I am able to be happy without a reason, then I am a recipient of the highest grade. I am the most blessed recipient, dhātāram, which means whatever is coming, I'm receiving, I'm happy. Varlenalum, I'm happy. Like the story of Swami Vidyaranya Muni, where till he was doing Gayatri Japa and he was wanting, nothing came. He threw everything. Then suddenly Gayatri Devi appeared and she said, now I'll give you everything. And then he says, I don't want. You can use it for social well-being. You can develop society. So that way, avānūcānamava. So what did we see till? Tvaṃ, ava vaktāram, ava śrotāram, ava dātāram, ava dhātāram. சொல்லுமா காயத்ரி.
இவ்வளோ அண்டர்ஸ்டாண்டிங்க்கு நடுவுல what if we get a question like why don't I deserve getting this or why do I deserve getting this suffering? எப்படி ஹேண்டில் பண்றது இந்த கொஸ்டினை? Because we get both the questions. When we suffer, what did I do to deserve or why do I deserve this suffering? And when we don't get what we want, we get the question as why don't I deserve getting this? இந்த ரெண்டு கொஸ்டினை எப்படி ஹேண்டில் பண்ண? Because ஒரு stage we are getting this question.
This question, the only problem is this question comes only when we are suffering. We don't get this question when we are happy.
When we are blessed, yeah.
No, the wonder is I get the question even when I am happy.
Happy, very good, super. Then you are balanced. Pinna enna problem?
How is it balanced?
So basically, Kele, now listen, the interesting thing, then Gayatri. Then you are getting a question. It is not about this or that. Then, see, it's very nice. There is this thing that I was watching. If you turn your question into a quest, then there is a possibility of understanding truth. Question is usually associated with one thing or the other. Question about this, question about that, question about that. If you get onto a quest means I want to understand the truth of things. I want to understand for myself, why is it happening this way? Why? When you get onto a quest, so tell yourself, whenever there is a question, it's fine. I'm getting this question, but I'm not going to dwell upon this question because I am on a larger quest. Quest for what? Quest for spiritual understanding. You move, you shift this direction, and then you will see, if in simple terms, if you're asking me, how do you address this? I'll say Shravanam, Mananam, Nididhyasanam. Shravanam, Mananam, Nididhyasanam. Which is why you have the scriptures, which is why you have all of this going on, where you listen to this and then it comes and says that, no, don't worry. It's all right. If it's happening, you're getting suffering, it's because of the things that you've done in the past. If you're getting happiness now, because of things you're getting in the past. Today, if you're able to sit down and listen to Vedanta or listen to scriptural studies or listen, there is an interest. Your child is chanting so beautifully. There is an interest of Bhagavad Gita in the family. All of this is happening is because you have done in the past. Right? So those beautiful things are also occurring in your life. It's because of the beautiful things you have done in the past. But at the same time, there are things that we have done which are unfavorable in the past. So hence I get some of these sufferings, some of these discomforts, inconveniences, and so-called obstacles. So my suggestion, recommendation would be, since you spoke about question, turn the question into a quest. When I was very small, I used to have a lot of questions about a lot of things. Even the smallest thing, when I'm walking on the road, my mother would be really bothered. Enada ivlo kelvi kekrane appadina. எல்லாமே கேள்வி கேட்டிருப்பேன். ஏதோ நீ இது இப்படி வச்சிருக்கு, இது என்னது, why is it like this, why is it like that? I'll keep asking. And as I was growing up, I used to keep asking. And because my mother will engage with me, I'll keep asking her. But at some point, she realized she cannot answer. She can't continue to answer these questions. And then you get a guru, and then you go through the whole process, right? And then you realize, then this shift happened, Gayatri. Realize that questioning individual things is enough. Now we need to move towards quest. We need to really go to the source of all understanding. Let me get to that. Because these things in the phenomenal world will keep happening. Today something will happen, tomorrow something will happen, day after tomorrow something will happen. 10 years later, when you look back, these things wouldn't matter. But what will matter is, are you persistent on the quest? Don't give up this quest that you're on.
Thank you so much.
Sorry, Gayatri, நீ கேட்ட கொஸ்டினுக்கு நான் வேற ஏதோ ஒரு பதில் சொல்லிட்டேன். ஆனா sometimes
இல்ல question இருந்துட்டே தான் இருக்கும், but go on with the question.
Quest.
That would be the
move from
appropriate
question.
thing to do right now.
Move from
Yes.
question to quest. I hope you understand what I'm saying there.
I understand, totally understand.
Questions will come, various questions will come, and you will get different kinds of answers also. You may get some answers, you may not get some answers. It's all right. Those answers are required for us to keep moving in life. Otherwise, it will keep bothering you, right? So if questions are there, why am I suffering? What happened? All that, it is there. Somebody will give you an answer, but don't settle for somebody's answer also, is my point. Don't settle for someone's answer. As long as I have a questioner in me, you will keep finding an answerer from somewhere. Somebody will come and give you some answer. That answer may be suitable now. That answer in a couple of years may not be same. சரிப்பா இது நிறைய கேட்டாச்சு அப்படின்னு தோணும். Right? So we are
exactly when everybody says, "Oh, ஜென்ம கர்மா அப்படி இருக்க" அப்படின்னு சொல்லும்போது, ஓ இதே எல்லாரும் சொல்ற வேற ஆன்சரே இல்லையா?
Correct, exactly. So the point is, because now what it shows there is that where answer will not come to you from the question itself. The other answer is not going to come to you from the question. The true answer that you're seeking will not come from somewhere on the outside at all. But but you have to go through this. You have to go through this to realize a point that vellindu varadu enaku badal. But do I resign? Do I resign? Badale varadina illa. I keep that fire burning inside and trying to locate the answer. It will come. It will come. It will come in form of a book. It will come in the form of a guru. It will come in form of something you will see that will appeal to you. It will come. So theory is oru pakkam vechiru. If you want to answer, you use the theory to just navigate through life. These are theories. If somebody is saying it is all your karma vena, it is truth. But for you, it is just theory. What do you do with that theory? You can't do much with that theory. So you use that theory in daily action. You repeatedly go through this process of mananam, shravanam, mananam, nididhyasanam. That is what I'm saying, Gayatri. Don't give up. I think the last week also we spoke something similar, right? Constantly keep listening, contemplating. It's not just listening. If you only listen, it will feel like, okay, I've heard it before. I've heard it before. No. Listen, process it in whatever ways you can, process it. And then also meditate upon it. Do your sadhana. Identify some time in the day to do some amount of sadhana. Slowly, these questions that you're saying are rising. See, there are two ways of questions getting responded to. When I said questions can get answered or your questions can get dropped. Which is better for you? Which is better?
Getting answered is better.
Why? Why, if the question gets dropped, why is it not good? Within you.
What if the same question comes to my child and she asks me when I don't have an answer?
Oh, that's all right. That's a different problem you're dealing with. That is, you're trying to give your experience to your child. You're wanting to share. That is fine. But you yourself, if the question drops, that's all right. It's no longer a question for you. See, today, a lot of questions that I'm responding to is not a question for me. This is not a question for me. But because there is a question that's coming, some answer will come. In the same way, when a child asks, you'll give some answer to the child that is appropriate at that age. Correct?
Ji, one more thing. Questions answer and again we will get another question from the same
answer.
So again questions will come. So adukku question drop aidichina the process will stop there itself.
Beautiful, beautiful. The process will stop.
And one more, hold on to our Lord or Guru will make us to be more powerful. So on the நாள் தான் என்ன செய்யும், கோல் தான் என்ன செய்யும், பன்னீர் வேலன் அந்த இது இருக்கும். So we have to hold on that thing. எதுவும் என்ன பண்ண முடியாது because I am holding on my Lord ன்னு சொன்னோம்னா everything, even this will pass away.
இதுவும் கடந்து போகும் அப்படினா.
The suffering, we have to think all these things, then the suffering also will become very small.
True.
எனக்கு ஒரு சந்தேகம். இப்போ if the questions are not answered and if the questions are dropped, isn't it like blindly believing?
No, I am not saying question. Somebody is forcing you to drop the question. I am saying within you
So
the question.
automatically getting dropped. ஏன் drop ஆச்சுன்னு சந்தேகம் வராதா?
வராதே. Drop ஆச்சுனாலே
So
சந்தேகம் இல்லைங்கிறது தான். No. So understand why it is dropping. Because there is no sandegam. That is why it is dropping. Understand that. The question is dropping because there is no doubt. See, today you don't have the same questions that you had when you were 6 years old, when you were 9 years old. Do you have those questions today when you are 12 years old? Because those questions don't matter to you anymore. Those questions don't matter. That is what I mean by drop, which means it will not matter to you anymore. It will not be a question at all. You understand what I'm saying?
Partially, I don't want to take everybody's time on this question.
Sure, it will take time. Yeah. So no problem. So see, the important thing, Gayatri, as I said, go through this process without giving up hope. Go through this process. Don't just listen. Listening, Shravanam is processing while you're listening, which is what you're doing, which is wonderful. The other thing we have to do is Mananam, which is when you're separately sitting in isolation, process it, go through it in your mind, ask these questions, which is good. Third is Nididhyasanam. Very, very important. A lot of people stop with Shravanam and Mananam. It becomes an intellectual exercise. Very important is take it to the next step of Nididhyasanam, which means where you actually do some practice on a regular basis, introspection, contemplation, meditation, pranayama, something you have to do. Because these answers, how can you explain silence? If your child is asking what is silence, how can you explain? Do you have any way of explaining to your child what is silence? You will not. You will not be able to explain. But can you experience silence? Can you experience silence?
Yes.
How? So you're experiencing something which you're not able to explain. And you don't need somebody to explain to you what is silence. So do you have a question now, what is silence in your head? You don't, because you've experienced it.
Yes.
When you experience silence, you've experienced it. It is not a question in your head, but your child is asking, என்னம்மா இது silence பேசுறாளேன்னு. அது உனக்கு இப்போ புரியாதுமா கண்ணா, நீ கொஞ்சம் உட்காந்து தியானம் பண்ணி கொஞ்சம் கண்ணை மூடிண்டு எதுவுமே மைண்ட்ல ஓடாம பீஸ்ஃபுல்லா உள்ள இருந்தேன்னா அதான் silence, you will explain. But still the child won't get it till the child actually experiences silence for itself.
Yes, true.
Correct?
I understand.
சின்ன ஸ்கூல் குழந்தைகளுக்கெல்லாம் put your finger on your lips எல்லாம்.
So in that way, Gayatri, a lot of questions don't necessarily...
They are not relevant after a certain point.
It doesn't, because you know, somewhere you know the response to it within you, which is why it's not a, you can't ask anybody.
Yes.
You can't ask anybody. That is what I mean by dropping. The question drops. The question drops because you know there is no point in asking anybody. Now,
yes.
Imagine this happens to everything in your life. Suppose, imagine you believe somewhere strongly, you've understood that it is my actions that are leading to what is happening in my life, my previous birth, whatever this birth, whatever actions I'm doing. If you've understood it really, the question will drop. You'll not feel like asking anybody.
Yes.
You'll not feel like going to an astrologer also and asking, enna nadakkum Sami?
Correct.
This is what I mean by question dropping. Correct? But your child will have the question. When your question is dropped, yet the child will have a question. Till the child comes to a point of experiencing, which is why Nididhyasanam I'm saying is experience, because intellectual knowledge, intellectual understanding translates into experiential understanding only in the process of sadhana.
Okay.
Very important. So make sure that all the three happens in a cyclical fashion, and doesn't mean that you have to see. A lot of times we also go into a place that ayo kelvi kekakudada illa. He'll like ask. That's all right. Where did this world come from? இப்ப நான் என்ன பதில் சொன்னா என்ன நான் என்ன வேணாலும் சொல்லலாம். திடீர்னு ஒரு பெரிய டர்ட்டில் வந்ததா, அந்த டர்ட்டில் முதுகுல வந்து பூமி இருந்ததா, என்னமோன்னு கதை சொல்லலாம். I can keep telling some cock and bull story. It will not make any sense.
போன வருஷம் இவ்வளவு இருந்து இந்த வருஷம் இவ்வளவு இருக்கு அப்படின்னாக்கா நான் போறதுனால keep counting the cows சொல்றாரு.
ஆமா, கரெக்ட்.
ஸ்டார்ஸ் ஸ்டார்ஸ் இருக்கு, மில்லியன்ஸ் அண்ட் பில்லியன்ஸ் ஆஃப் ஸ்டார்ஸ் இருக்கு அப்படின்னு அதோட விட்டு போனோம்.
எக்ஸாக்ட்லி.
எவ்வளவு மில்லியன், எவ்வளவு தௌசண்ட் அப்படின்னு
எங்க இருந்து இது பண்ணுவோம்? Absolutely. In fact, there is a beautiful story of Birbal. Birbal, somebody comes into the state, into this kingdom and asks Birbal, Tenali Raman equivalent, Birbal. He says, how many crows are in your country, in your kingdom? He says, there are about 5,33,452. அப்படின்னு ஒரு நம்பர் அடிச்சு விடுவான். And then then the guy will say, how do you know? He'll say, prove me wrong. Prove me wrong. Then he'll say, okay, what if there are more crows than this? Then he says, maybe some have migrated. He'll say, what if there are less than this? Then some have migrated out, some have migrated in. Where do you take this conversation? Right? So, but on the spiritual journey, extremely important to have questions. It is a method for introspection. It is a method of trying to understand what is being said. But when sorry,
there's this lady from America who comes in a ship with a whole bunch of questions. And she says, I want you to answer all of these questions. And she sits in front of him and she feels like, all her questions have dropped. They're not relevant.
Correct. So this is experience. So now, where does this come from? From experience. So my suggestion is, let us also focus on nididhyasanam, on dhyanam. Whatever we are discussing in all our sessions are shravanam. We are gathering it, and then we are processing it, mananam, and then we are then we have, and then we kind of generally we tend to stop. Shravanam, mananam, right? Each individual has to take it to the next stage of nididhyasanam. Right? Unfortunately, we are not in a place where we can all come together and then spend a retreat, which is why we try to do yatras, which is in a way we come together and we spend that time together and we spend some times of sitting together, meditating, adalla. But on a regular basis, one should develop an ability to do sadhana on whatever. You can use this, you can listen to some of these things from various other masters who have spoken and said, YouTube level, listen and then sit with it. Questions will come, but then drop all the questions. Now, this is important. Nididhyasanamla, you're not processing questions. Understand this. As long as you're processing questions, you're still in mananam. You're processing. Nididhyasanam is nothing to do with any questions. All you're doing is you're just going into that silence. You're sitting there. You're doing your pranayama, you're doing your kriya, you're doing your dhyana, whatever you're doing. You're doing your mantra japa, but you're not thinking about anything there. You're only experiencing. The more and more you start becoming rich in that experience, the questions that are processed in manana will slowly either get answered or will get dropped. This is how it works. This is how it works for everybody, without difference. It is our own experience makes our response to our own questions in the way we find resolution to. Because the answer I find resolution to is not the answer that you will find resolution to. Very different. The answers I find resolution with is my answers, it comes for me and it satisfies me. And hence, I don't have that question anymore. Like we spoke about silence. When I have experienced silence within me, I am not going to go and ask anybody what is silence. Because I know. And when I sit, close my eyes, and I know when I'm going to be in that silence, I don't need anybody to tell me what it feels like. Because I know what it feels like. So it is not a question for me anymore. Yeah. Priya, I saw your hand raised. I know we ran over time.
இல்ல ஜி, நான் அதுக்கு இல்ல, நான் வந்து நீங்க சொன்னதுக்கு தான். ஒருவேளை மெச்சூரிட்டி வந்ததுனால நம்ம வீல் டிராப் த क्वेश्चंस இல்லையா?
ஆமா. Over time it will resolve.
நமக்கு தெரியும் இது வந்துட்டு இதுக்கு ஆன்சர் இதுதான். So why again to question that? So maybe I feel maturity நால கூட நம்ம we'll drop the questions.
We will drop na agaduma. This is important to notice. I am telling it is not an active process of dropping the questions. Don't misunderstand what I'm saying.
Yeah, okay.
You're not dropping. The questions will drop.
Correct.
Because somewhere the understanding is there. It is like saying the sky is blue. Now, will you go and ask somebody at this after time? Why will you will not go and ask anybody sky is blue? You know the sky is not blue. Sky doesn't have a color. It is only taking the color of the oceans. So it's not a question for you anymore. So as the question dropped on its own, did you take an effort to drop the question? No.
Maybe we realized it is because of this. அதனால கூட இருக்கலாம் இல்லையா?
Exactly.
That is what is my...
Exactly. So once the understanding comes, I'm saying the dropping happens on its own. And it's no longer
understanding in the early age la vara matingirudhe. Why? The same question again I'm coming to.
Edu?
In the understanding vandu why it is not coming in the early age?
Some will argue that you are at an early age, you are getting at an early age.
அதுதான் சொல்றேன். So why am I
saying you are thinking why did I not get before 40? Some will think why did I not get before 70?
Okay.
So you are getting this understanding now, and for some you may seem like, oh, a little girl is getting this understanding now. You are looking at somebody who is 15 and you'll say, oh, that little girl is getting an understanding. But that is relative. Age is not the important thing here.
Karma.
It is experiences. No, what experiences you gather over time, that is how it develops. Chandra Mama, I see you've asked third stage on the nididhyasanam.
Nidhiya?
Nididhyasanam.
Dhyasanam.
Nididhyasanam. Shariya. Om kayena vacha manasendriyirva buddhyatmana va prakrite svabhavat karomi yatyat sakalam parasmai narayanayati samarpayami sadashivayati samarpayami jagadambikayai iti samarpayami sadgurunathayati samarpayami Hari Om Tat Sadgurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om, Hari Om. May we all get to that understanding where the questions drop on their own. Hari Om.
Hari Om.